Top of the 7th at Eldredge Park. Final day of the regular season, as it's the Firebirds and the Wareham Gatemen. Orleans looking for their 18th win of the season, a win that would punch their ticket into the Cape Cod Baseball League playoffs, but they're going to have to come from behind. A new pitcher in for Orleans, it's Colin Kramer, tall left-hander, who peers in. He'll face Cameron Chick to start the visiting half of the 7th. Chick swings, hits a line drive right at Jacob Stinson for out number 1. As it's zip-lined over to Stinson, who has had plenty of work the third time through the order for the Gatemen, as he recorded 6 putouts. Got the first 2 in the lineup, then the 4-5 batters in the lineup, and the 8-9 batters in the lineup on either flyouts or lineouts right to him. So a busy night for Stinson, and an impressive one because he's not the everyday center fielder for the Firebirds. Kramer will face the top of the order as Anderson. 2 pitches and 2 committed swings from the Gatemen, as Anderson skies that out of play and goes behind 0-1. Good year so far for Colin Kramer, Luke.
Yeah, he's attacked. He's got a little bit over-the-top sort of delivery, but he comes into the zone. Seen him pick up quite a few strikeouts. Just peppers that strike zone, and that's all you can really ask. Hasn't been hit around too much. It's a guy that plugged right into the Firebirds bullpen and has done it masterfully.
He is yet to surrender a walk. He's allowed just 2 hits in the 6 and now 2/3 innings he's thrown this summer with the Birds. Here's his offering. It's out of the zone. That one got away from him a little bit on the breaking ball, so it's 2-1. Kramer in for the 3rd time this season, and he has been spectacular. Of North Carolina, Charlotte, that just missed. To Anderson. Anderson today, a single and a scored run in the 3rd, sandwiched between a flyout in the 4th and a ground out in the 1st. This is the Rockland Trust call to the bullpen for Kelly Nicholson. When it's time for a trusted arm, think Rockland Trust on 70 Main Street in Orleans, your home for banking, investment, and insurance services. Hit out of play as Anderson's been late on 2 of the fastballs thrown at him by Kramer. That runs this count full at 3-2. Kramer comes set. 3-2 pitch. Tap foul as Anderson just caught a few stitches. So good at bat with 1 away and nobody on in the top of the 7th. Orleans trails 4-1. Colin Kramer coming in to relieve Bryce Walker. Gave up 4 runs. Pitch on the way. Downstairs, ball 4. A 1-out walk for Anderson at the top of the order.
Walks have been hard to come by against Colin Kramer. Ever since coming here for the Firebirds. It's the 3rd time he's heard his name called. Has gone 6 1/3, striking out 6, only giving up 2 hits. And guess what, Jack? That's walk number 1 of his Firebirds career.
So now it's to pitch with traffic on the base pass. Has not hit a batter either, so that is his first free pass of the summer. First pitch to Campos. Outside corner for a strike. Pitching away from Campos, who had an RBI single, to play Cameron Chick in the 3rd to open the scoring for the Gatemen. It was part of a 4-run 3rd inning. Bryce Walker remained in the game. Saw 9 more batters after that inning and got all 9 out. Pitch on the way, down and into Campos. That leaked away from Colin Kramer. This counts even at 1-1. Kramer's gotten a flyout and surrendered a walk to Max Anderson after Campos. Will Rogers on deck. Kramer kicks and fires, and Campos gets jammed. A ground ball to second. Urso flips to McCleary at second on the first. In time, inning over. A 4-6-3 double play. Rolled by Colin Kramer, and the Firebird defense behind him supports their pitcher on the mound as Kramer delivers a scoreless top of the 7th and keeps the deficit at 3 for the Birds. Let's send things down to the third member of our team, and Kevin McNulty waiting in the dugout with Luke Keischel.
Luke Keischel, he keeps it real. And Jack and Luke, I'll throw it back to you guys.
Well, thanks very much, Kevin. A leadoff double for Jack Bolger. Can that ignite the Firebirds in the home half of the 7th? Orleans, now for the third time tonight, have gotten the leadoff batter on. In the third, or in the second, pardon me, they were able to plate a run. Weren't able to in the 5th. Alex Galvin back to work on the mound. Bolger jumped all over him on the first pitch, so Galvin's first pitch to Drew Metzdorf in for a strike to make the count 0-1. Metzdorf 2 for 2. Base hit may get the Firebirds one run closer. Metzdorf laid on the fastball and fouls it back to the screen. Good crowd on hand at Eldredge Park. They're near the top in terms of attendance in a game against Brewster on Sunday where they had over 3,000 fans. Metzdorf waiting on the 0-2. Outside, ball 1.
You heard Luke Keischel talk about a guy with great plate discipline. Drew Metzdorf has shown a bit of that ever since his first or second game. His first game, he struck out twice, chased a couple of backdoor sliders. Ever since, he's been locked in inside that zone.
Galvin did give up an earned run in his last appearance on July 29th when the Gatemen hosted Brewster. Here's the pitch to Metzdorf. He lines this over the head of Anderson and into left field, a base hit. It's down near the line. Seb Buhar, the third base coach, waving Bolger home. And the Firebirds now trail by just 2. Back-to-back hits to start the 7th.
Nice swing with 2 strikes there from Metzdorf. Stayed right through the zone, saw something that he could hit, and jumped on it early. Firebirds not done just yet. It's been the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings that have propelled them this season. Really, the 8th inning has been the one that, as of late, has provided all the fireworks. But they get one here in the 7th. Still nobody out.
Well, the Firebirds don't care what inning. They just like to come back. Stinson drops a bunt down, but it's just going to squirt foul. We've seen Stinson plenty of times this summer try to ambush a pitcher. After a big moment, crowd on their side. Knows that the pitcher might try to reestablish inside the strike zone, get ahead in the count. And Stinson trying to capitalize on that. He's tried to drop a bunt twice after the Firebirds have hit a home run this year. He'll swing away and line this base hit into right field. Metzdorf looking at the ball in right field is going to turn from second and head for third. And the Firebirds really in business now in the home half of the 7th.
They've got the tying run standing at first base with nobody out. And here comes Connor Burns, who we've talked about, has really began to find his swing, especially in the power category. Strikeout and a walk tonight, Jack. I feel like Connor Burns is going to come through in the clutch here for Orleans.
Drew Metzdorf at third base. Jacob Stinson at first base. A multi-hit night for Stinson. For Metzdorf, it's his 6th multi-hit contest. And his 3rd time with 3 hits. Connor Burns at the dish, and that is going to end the night for Alex Galvin. He comes in relief of Ben Koval. pitched well in the 6th inning. Got the Gatemen out of the 5th by stranding 2 base runners. But the Firebirds racing out of the gate in this frame have cut the deficit to 2, and now with nobody out have runners at the corners and a new pitcher in for Harvey Shapiro, the skipper for the Gatemen. No matter what, tonight the final night of the season for Wareham. Firebirds trying to take the season series. These teams locked at 1-1-1. New pitcher will be a lefty.
Well, for Galvin, still responsible for the base runner, but goes 1 1/3, giving up 3 hits, 1 earned run charged to his name to this point. But he's responsible for both those guys on the base paths. No strikeouts, no walks, no home runs. Faced just 7 batters. Was able to get 4 outs out of it. The Firebirds are in business here in the home half of the 7th.
4th call to the bullpen for Harvey Shapiro. When it's time for a change, thank Rockland Trust on 70 Main Street in Orleans, your home for banking, investment, and insurance services. And the new pitcher is Brian Young, the left-hander out of Rider University.
Well, this is a bit more of what we expected from the staff today for Wareham. Kind of expected a bullpen game from the start, but Mazza's quality start, going 4 innings, giving up 5 hits and just 1 earned run. Struck out 1, didn't walk anybody. Really set the tempo, but here, once the Firebirds have gotten to the pen, good things have happened to this point. See if the offense can continue to string things together.
Now, how about this? We might have a burgeoning shootout between Wareham and Orleans. First 3 contests were rock fights. 2-0 final score in favor of the Birds, then 1-0 Wareham, and then a 1-1 tie on July 17th. But a 4-2 game as of now. Brian Young coming in the game, hoping to keep it that way. He's not given up a run yet this summer, but again, as Luke mentioned, very small sample size. He's thrown just 3 innings in 1 appearance. So the baton has been passed to Connor Burns. The ball's in his court to try and cut into the Wareham deficit. Burns with late season performance. His average has climbed above 200. He's now 2nd on the team in home runs with 3. 7 RBIs this summer. First pitch to Burns, and he watches a strike low and away. So far today, Connor Burns has walked and struck out. Firebirds can punch their ticket to the postseason with a victory tonight, trying to cut into this Wareham deficit. They've already got 1 across. Burns cuts and misses. 0-2.
Well, this has been the struggle for Connor Burns this season, is finding himself behind in the count. But as of late, we've seen him make some adjustments, try to put the ball in play, see if he can't come up with a productive out, maybe a sacrifice fly or even a well-hit ground ball. Bring that runner home from 3rd.
Burns batting .375 in his last 5 games, but he swings and misses for his 2nd strikeout of the night. That takes the air out of the crowd just a little bit, as now spotlight falls upon Nick McCleary in the box. McCleary is grounded out and then almost had one leave the yard. In the bottom of the 5th, with Connor Burns on at first, McCleary hit one to the warning track, but the wind held it in left field as Diodati made the catch on the track. Now McCleary faces Brian Young. 2 on, 1 out. First pitch, swinging and missing. Go behind 0-1.
Nick McCleary got into that baseball there in the bottom of the 5th. Ended up being out number 2, but he hit it well. Bottom of the order has begun to swing and see the baseball well.
Cleary swings, line drive, base hit, center field. Here comes another run as Metzger scores from third. It's now a 1-run deficit.
How about the Firebirds continuing to late in innings just come up with clutch base hits, and it's come from all over the order. And it doesn't get any easier for Brian Young, who now gets the top of the order and co-MVP of the Firebirds in Luke Keischel.
That pitch was turned around by Nick McCleary right over the head of Brian Young. And in between the second baseman Padilla and the shortstop and Fabian. Now here's Luke Keischel. Open this inning speaking to the third member of our team, Kevin McNulty, talking about the experience he's had this summer, how positive it has been for Luke Keischel to spend the last 2 summers on the Cape as a member of the Firebirds, named co-MVP earlier this evening. Pitch on the way, and Keischel watches ball 1. A patient take by Keischel. Something not always attributed to the leadoff batter for Orleans. His aggressiveness can sometimes get the better of him. Hasn't walked a ton this summer. Has struck out plenty. With a runner in scoring position, the tying run in Stinson, Keischel has a chance to create a moment. He lines this to left. A high fly ball. Back goes Diodati, and it's gone! Keischel leaves the yard, and the Firebirds have come storming back in the 7th to take the lead.
What a swing by Luke Keischel. Hopped on a pitch, elevated in the zone, turned on it, and that's why he's your co-MVP. Comes up with a big swing, and the Firebirds have flipped the script. They lead at 6-4 and have a chance to clinch a playoff spot.
For the second time tonight, Orleans is in front, now with a 2-run advantage. And a 5-run 7th for Orleans as they lead at 6-4 after the 3-run homer by Keischel, his 5th of the summer. Now Urso. Can he kickstart another rally? Late on the fastball and flips it out of play over towards Nauset Middle School. On a moment for Luke Keischel. One of the longest tenured Firebirds. Member of the Birds last summer, appeared in 20 games, had 2 home runs and a .321 average. Average has dipped a little bit as he slumped in recent games. But perhaps the biggest swing of the summer for Orleans. Just then, off the bat of Luke Keischel. One. Urso watches strike 2. Nice pitch from Brian Young. Now Urso behind in the count at 1-2. Here's the pitch. Urso grounds this left side right towards Anderson. He fields it clean, throw to first in time for the second out.
Well, and Jack, generally on a night like this, the Firebirds fans, show up, and they have again tonight, but you see it slowly taper off throughout the game, knowing that the playoffs are on the line. This crowd has stuck it out, and I'm sure that they are glad they did. Big swing from Keischel, the Firebirds storming back, and have already picked up 5 runs to take the lead here in the 7th.
Luke Keischel now with 20 RBIs this summer. He drives in Stinson, McCleary, and himself on the 3-run homer. Five-run 7th inning for Orleans. The magic comes an inning early. So many times the 8th inning has been the scene where the Firebirds mount a spirited rally. Tonight it's been the 7th. Cam Jones ahead, 2-0 in the count. Wind starting to pick up. It is gusted in from center field all night. Keishel's homer was a bullet, rarely affected by the wind as Jones taps it foul. 2-1. Cam Jones, 1 for 3 tonight. Extended his on-base streak to 17 games, had a 14-game hit streak. Upended against Brewster on Sunday. But Jones has remained hot. Yesterday, 1 for 4. Then RBI against Brewster. The 2-1. Jones, then excuse me swing. As it glances off his bat and over towards where Kelly Nicholson is stationed. Over at the dugout on the first base line. What a moment for the Firebirds. Now 11 hits in this contest.
Really haven't squandered too many opportunities. Bases clear courtesy of that home run by Luke Keichel. They stranded 2 in the 5th and 1 in the 2nd inning, but they also scored a run in that 2nd, taking advantage of the opportunities.
Line drive, base hit. Cam Jones delivers another base knock for the Firebirds in the 7th. 6th base hit for Orleans from the 7th batter of the inning. Here comes Isaac Humphrey. His base hit in the 2nd inning extended his on-base streak to an almost unfathomable 30 consecutive games. Can he help extend this advantage for Orleans? First pitch. Outside corner, but a strike called by home plate umpire Randall Yandow.
Well, and with Isaac Humphrey in the box, Jack Bolger on deck, Kelly Nicholson trots out of the dugout, talking to the man on deck, his left fielder today, and Jack Bolger.
0-1. Way inside. If Bolger bats, the Firebirds will have cycled through the order. Wareham nearly did so. They sent 9 to the plate in the 3rd. What a response by Orleans 4 frames later. Firebirds thus far in this inning have rolled a 5, a crooked number, which has taken them from the depths of possibly losing this game and throwing their postseason chances into uncertainty as Humphrey swings and hits it out of play. They have now positioned themselves to once again claim their destiny on their terms of reaching the postseason. They can punch their ticket with a win tonight. And they'll start at the top of the 8th, needing just 8 outs, or 6 outs rather. Humphrey behind 1-2. 1 for 3 so far. Has had plenty of success against Wareham this summer. He swings and that's out of play.
Talk about the success for Isaac Humphrey. Came in 3 for 6. Picked up a base hit to lead off the 2nd inning. And has flown out and popped out to the pitcher. Working on a multi-hit game against Wareham yet again.
It remains 1-2 to Humphrey. Trying to play defense against Brian Young. Here's the pitch. Humphrey swings and misses for strike 3. But the Firebirds send 9 to the plate. And they deliver 5 runs in the frame. Orleans explodes in that inning. As it's 6 hits, 5 runs, no errors, and 1 left on base. Orleans with a spectacular 7th, and now it's up to the bullpen to close things out for the Firebirds. A new pitcher jogging in from right field as Tommy Hoffey will step aside as Hoffey gets loose for the Firebirds. It's now 6 for Orleans.